I want to welcome everybody to the Daily Cheat Sheet. And Golan is on his way back to Barcelona here with the dude. You're looking great as always. And you know how you could find that out? Go to YouTube and Rumble, subscribe, follow us all over. It would be very helpful. Mend, this is a top, it's interesting is when you're not here on shows and I am talking about a subject, I think about how much you've said that has left an imprint on me. So I want to thank you for that. So while you were gone, like there's certain topics that you really, we all have topics that are important to us and to you some more to me. Not that it's not important, but you get what I'm saying. So I want to really thank you for that. And I go to this story that it's this, it's, you know what it is? It's that thing you brought up the other day and you constantly bring up is the illegals that are using, obviously have CDL licenses or driving illegally. And this thing that it shouldn't even be happening. It's this case where the left would argue, well, this happens anyways, right? Why add more to it? So Chrissy Nunn today, 164 illegal immigrant truck drivers arrested in Indiana crackdown.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, considering that California gave out 60,000 of those licenses, it's a drop in the bucket, but good for her for starting. Another thing that happens when they start cracking down on this stuff is that there's a lot of people that self-moderate. So if you're in the country and you're driving on one of these illegal California driver's licenses that you shouldn't have gotten, some of these people will voluntarily give them up. So that's like just an added benefit, net positive that we're not taking into account. And it also begs us to do more of these crackdowns because the more fearful these people they are of being arrested for driving with an illegal license. Are they calling them illegal licenses, even though they're issued by the state?
Um, uh, yes, I think so. I will.
Yeah, I know
Uh,
that California is losing a lot of funds because they've
well,
been
they
giving
lost.
out
They
these
got
licenses.
$160 million.
It's not that much.
Well, it
You
is when
know,
you're broke.
they give 160 million to like three homeless guys every week. This is California.
I know for one unit to cost to build for a homeless person, it's $160 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyways, go on.
So I think it's a great thing that they're doing that, and they should get all of these illegal drivers. There was a way that New York cleaned up. When they cleaned up New York, you talked about this. It was go after the small infractions, and you find out, some of these guys with small infractions have a lot bigger criminal issues, and that's how they caught them. So if they start cracking down on these illegal drivers, anyone with broken headlights and all that other stuff, you're going to catch people. The dragnet will catch people larger, with much larger criminal liability, criminal issues. So by all
Listen, I
means.
think you're 100% right. I think this is a very bizarre thing, and I want to get more into this a little bit later, but it's a very bizarre thing because this is America first, right? All these topics that we constantly discuss, whether it's the New York City mayoral race, illegal immigration, obviously with the CDL licenses, and you don't hear in the pod sphere, man, these things being spoken about. It's more than it can't be just a coincidence. So I hand you the New Jersey race, right? With Citarelli and Cheryl, right? Now he's
Hmm.
caught up. He's neck
Yeah, I
and
think he's
neck right
behind
now.
by 1 point.
By one point, which is neck and neck.
Margin
I
of
mean,
error, yeah.
yeah, I mean they wouldn't even call that a margin of error. Margin of error is usually 3 to 4 points. This is like, yeah, hopefully he wins. But Republicans didn't learn from their past mistakes. New Jersey rarely ever has a governor that, Democrat that wins back to back or a Republican that wins back to back. They usually switch off. This is an anomaly we're seeing. So the question has to do is I have for you is this a lot of New Yorkers that have moved to Jersey that bring their politics with them to New Jersey? But why are Republicans not getting around this? Why are they not getting around him? I don't. It's like they're so laser focused on being anti-Israel, being anti certain things, this is America first. New Jersey is a big state that we could potentially win one day. Why are they not on this?
Yeah, it's actually a really good question. You're seeing that with them in Domney, New York as well. They
Yes,
waited to the
exactly.
last minute to break out a video of his mom saying that he's not American. She despises America. They hate America. He wants to dismantle the police. He's just anti everything that we stand for. Why'd you wait to the last minute for that? And
We
you,
discussed that
it,
yesterday, right? You missed the show, but it was like, why did the Blitz? And I have two theories on this. I have two theories, but I I think they thought he was unelectable, and I think they thought Sleever would drop out, so they didn't press as hard. And I think the fact that he's a Muslim is like we can't attack him. We can't attack this Muslim person, and you're starting to see this thing. It go on obviously in Minnesota, as you brought up in Georgia, where we let's be honest, man. If this guy was white screaming what he's screaming about, he wouldn't get a vote.
that's correct. That is absolutely correct. The problem that I see with Republicans is in general, if you know that meme where there's the white liberal woman screaming about everything, big eyes, it's all over the place. That sums up the energy on the left. They are so charged up. They believe that Trump is a Nazi. They believe the world is going to hell. They believe climate change is killing all of us. That's why they're not having kids. Like they are so fired up on all cylinders about everything that they get out there and vote. And Republicans are not. Republicans are more, listen, the world's not coming to an end. Climate change, sure, might be man-made, might be naturally made, it might be a combination of both. You know, if we eventually switch to electric cars, great, and we don't have to hurry to get there. There's no reason to hurry while China's building coal-fired plants every week. They're building three coal-fired plants in Africa. Do we really need to stop farting here in the States? Like, is that really a thing? Do we really need to pay that tax? And that's why Trump
Listen, but
keeps
can
on
I tell you
calling it.
something? That might be the most. I'm sorry to say. I know you're going to be upset with me. Might be the most brilliant point you've ever brought up on this show, and it better
Oh,
be
wow.
yours because I think that's the most brilliant freaking point you've ever made. You're essentially saying is Republicans don't act until it's ablaze, right? No
Well,
matter
what I'm
how
saying
much
is that they're taking it so much more easy.
well, no,
And
no,
they
but
take
I'm
it easy
saying
with everything, and they're also taking it easy with the elections. And they're going, "Oh, we'll probably win this thing. We don't have to all go out and vote. We'll probably take it." And now it's looking like Mendamini is going to take New York. And
but my point, I want to go back to your point though, because I don't want to gloss over it. Your point is that Republicans don't sometimes act until the room is on fire, as opposed to when the warnings are there. Like people are screaming, there's smoke, and they're not acting until
well, we've seen that. We've seen that with almost every single Democrat issue where the Democrats slowly, let's say the George Soros-backed Democrats have been slowly eroding everything in this country from, prosecutors to state attorney generals to the who gets elected mayor, all of that. They've been making inroads into the school boards, and Republicans have not been paying attention until 20 million illegals come across the border. And then they're like, oh my God, what the heck is going on? Why are little children chopping off their weenies? In Canada, this it's so important to look at what goes on in Europe and Canada, what the liberals there are doing, to know where the liberals here are headed. So in Canada, they've enacted euthanasia, where if you're terminally ill, you could go to a doctor and get shot up and they kill you. They've actually killed somebody in Canada who had autism. That's not a deadly illness. So you see how first they get it over the line and they say, okay, we need to have this thing as humane. Then they start eroding away the safeguards, which, in this case, you have a perfectly healthy person who elected to commit suicide. And now the Canadians are saying that they want to be able to do it to kids. Not joking. They want children to be able to elect to be euthanized if they they're going to start off with terminal illness, but next thing you know, kid thinks he's trans and says, "Oh, you know what? Off me." So
I knew this was getting to that place because I saw it. Where's the country that it's allowed? Switzerland, that
Sweden, I think
Sweden,
Switzerland,
or
one of
yeah,
those.
Sweden and Switzerland, the same thing. And they, where 26-year-old, 27-year-olds are going over there because and doing that. I didn't realize this was so. It's sort of like you bring this up, right? Trump fought another thing he didn't get doesn't get nearly enough credit for is medication's right to try, right? And if you're dying or you have an illness, he wants medications for people to give them a shot with right to try. This is right to die, right? And this is encouraging people.
What is right to try?
It's where, a pharmaceutical company doesn't want that has medications that they haven't tested out yet fully, that haven't gone through all the clinical trials.
Off-brand uses, right? So they
No,
could do
no,
off-brand
no, no,
uses
no,
where
no, no,
like,
no, 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 not off-brand uses, medications that are specifically geared sometimes for something, right? But they haven't, it could take 10 years for a company to come up with until all the clinical trials are done. And they're scared because, well, what happens if somebody dies? Well, these people are going to die anyways, was Trump's
right.
point when he passed this 5 or 6 years ago. And it's an incredibly important thing because clinical trials can take years. So if you're going to die, he's like, take the medicine. What's the difference? And so he indemnified them from cases like that.
In a lot of cancer situations anyway, the medicine will kill you. The medicine will kill you, but without the medicine, you're going to die in, say, 18 months. With the medicine, you'll live 5 years, but then eventually you're going to die from the medicine. So they just do that as a risk reward benefit and say, let's go for it. At least the person will get these, quality years, additional quality years. So
Yeah, but yeah,
I agree
sorry.
that Trump's doing that. I like that. I think it's great. Listen, if a person's dying anyway, throw the book at it. Try anything.
That's exactly right. And something he did not get enough credit for. And I think it's something, listen, I get it. Everybody loves to knock the big pharma stuff and all this stuff, but they do have drugs that it takes years for testing. Listen, if you have Lou Gehrig's disease, otherwise known as ALS, there might be drugs on the market that not on the market, but that drug companies have that you're dead in 3 years unless you're Stephen Hawking. For the most part, in
Right.
3 to 5 years, you've lost all your faculties. Why not give people the right to try? But I want to get back to this Canada thing because that's a very scary thing you're talking about, and it's it's a border next to us. It's literally right a minute away.
I mean, it is the logical next step because they started with kids chopping off their weenies. Like, why would you let an 8 or 9 year old decide that they want to go through a chemical castration and transition? And let's be clear, when they say puberty blockers, when they talk about, oh, yeah, it's harmless, that is, it's actually chemical castration. It's the same drug that you would give to a sex offender if they were sentenced to chemical castration. So the same drug, now they're calling it, oh, affirming their identity. What is it? Affirming their something or
Gender
other.
affirming.
Gender affirming medicine. That's not gender affirming medicine. You're giving him chemical castration. Is that what you want to do to your child? And the
Again, it's the
worst thing,
branding. I mean, think about the branding on
of
this.
course, yeah,
You being
they
a
do it all the
brander and
time.
you being a brander in business. I mean, this is their business.
Yeah, yeah. Winston Churchill said, when the fascists will come, they're going to call themselves anti-fascists. And that
No,
was
but
during, we're talking World War II era, right? He predicted it. And
well,
today we have
Churchill. I mean, there are
Antifa.
certain people. I mean, Trump is one of them. I'll put them in the Churchill category that he actually is so far. There have been people that are so far ahead in their thinking, that forward thinking that they could see. And listen, I think I got to be honest. I think there are a lot of people that are screaming the sirens, that are raising the sirens, but they're being blocked. And it's a very, and I want to get into that in a second, but you brought up something that Rogan brought up, which is rebranding the medications. I know you knew this before listening to Rogan, since you listen
My
and read a ton,
research.
do a ton of research. And one of the things when on trigonometry, and it's interesting, one of the things when they trigonometry was on Rogan, right? Rogan decided to cite that website. What's it called? Gray Zone.
The gray
Um,
zone. It's a crazy lefty, anti-imperialist, anti-American, anti-Israel, just a group of nutbags.
yeah, but there's a bigger point is that the reason these things are dangerous is because all it takes is one paper to prove somebody's point, right? That's all it takes is one paper to say Israel broke the ceasefire. And then all of a sudden you have everybody going to this one site, one source who has been debunked over and over and over again. And I wish the trigonometry people would have pushed back a little bit because we're witnessing it right now. We're witnessing people like Mike Flynn and a bunch Bannon and all these other people constantly blaming Israel for the breaking of the ceasefire. Somehow Marjorie Taylor Greene got it into her head that 46 children, Israel killed 46 Palestinian children, right?
Yeah, she
Where is
got
she
that.
getting those numbers?
Hamas reported those numbers.
Yeah.
Hamas reported it, and Margie Taylor Greene is repeating it. So, do we really have to say anything else? Like these people are they're so blinded by this, one-sided hate for this one country over everything else that they can't even be objective, and they're taking the word of actual terrorists. Trump did come out on Air Force One, and he said, together with I believe the Emir of Qatar. I don't think he was on Air Force One at the time, but Trump said that Israel did not break the ceasefire, that Hamas did, and the guy from Qatar did as well. But interestingly, as I showed you guys on the chat the other day, Al Jazeera did not report that. Al Jazeera reported Israel will use any excuse it can to murder more Palestinians. That was their headline. So Qatar has not changed.
Yeah, no, no. Well, the Qatar will never change, but I like the way you frame that, by the way. And you did a really perfect job in framing that. Their hatred, their blind spot, this hatred of Israel that Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, and all these people have is like it's like so insane that it overrides anything that makes sense, like everything else that they supposedly stand for. I mean, railing against 50 million Zionist Christians, and there's and men, I have to ask the question, where is the pushback? Forget about Israel. Where is the pushback that Tucker Carlson came out and said there's nothing more he hates than Christian Zionists, right?
Yeah,
Which,
I
if you
believe
look,
Mike Huckabee, the American ambassador to Israel, did come out and make a statement against that.
yeah,
He posted something on X about it. So,
yeah, because he was named in it, right? I mean, like, who hates Mike Huckabee? How can you possibly hate Mike Huckabee? But the bigger question is, where are the people? I keep on saying this, and I don't get this hold that Tucker has. All I could think of is that you have to follow the money. Why is Marjorie Taylor Greene not going against Mamdani? He's a Muslim that's about to run New York City. Why is she not screaming on top of it, right? That should be an America only thing, not having a city go Islam, right? The
no,
same thing
she's
with
agreeing.
Minnesota.
These days, she agrees, Marjorie Taylor Greene agrees more with AOC and Bernie Sanders and Mamdani than she does with, say, Trump and Marco Rubio. They're on the opposite sides. The horseshoe has gone full circle there. Marjorie Taylor Greene's, and I don't know about her policies. I'm talking about what she posts on social media on a daily basis is more in line with the Democratic Socialists of America than anything that's closely resembling a Republican. Forget about MAGA.
I go more now with the Democrat communists, right?
Democrat
because
communists, yeah, same thing.
because we it is a little bit of a difference, but either 6 of 1, you're 100% correct. And but I had this thing with Golan yesterday, and I don't always want to believe certain things, but I got to tell you, I think money has a lot to do with it. I think these people are bought and paid for, and because I can't think of any other thing than money. This unwillingness to go. If you're so willing to go scorched earth on Israel, but you're not willing to go scorched earth on this Arab that's running in New York, so you're defending the Arabs over there, right? And you're protecting a Muslim jihadist like Mamdani or in her own state, somebody that's going to be running for governor, there doesn't need to be that much connecting of the dots to figure out what's going on over there, and that's cutting.
It's what it sounds like. It walks like a Qatar. It quacks like a Qatar. It's got to be a Qatar. I mean, look at the things that are coming out of these people's mouths on a daily basis. It is straight either China, Russia, or Qatar talking points.
So I want to ask
All.
you a question. You listen to a lot of podcasts. You do. You listen to a lot of things that you don't agree with. Are any of them talking about this? About the New York? I mean, like, I know you don't listen to Bannon's War Room for 3 hours. I don't think anybody listens to, well, there are some. But is Bannon talking about the New York mayoral race, or is he still fixated on Trump sending the bomb into Iran and Israel?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard any of them really dive into the substantive issues regarding Mendamni and the things that he has said regards to 9/11. We deserved it. Um, that abolish the police. America is a colonial uh, uh, project that needs to be dismantled. All of that stuff, nothing. They gloss over that. They talk about him wanting to give away free subway rides or free bus rides or whatever, opening up communist style grocery stores. So, no, there isn't a lot of talk about it on the left. There's
On the
some that are
right, you
just
mean?
champion. Yeah, on the left or the right. I mean, the guys on the right are not talking about the perils or the risks that America faces, not just New York. America faces risks by having this jihadi become mayor of our most populous city in the country.
And it goes back to what I said. Remember, like you used to not like when I would say, like, bring up certain names or points, right? And be, and be the alarmist because it's uncomfortable talking to somebody that's an alarmist. I'll be honest. I mean, it's like listening to myself is, can be a fearful thing. So if you're sitting across from me and I'm saying these things, it's an uncomfortable thing, but it's really turning out to be very true, right? This horseshoe that we were talking about since we've been doing this show, as you said, has fully been complete. And you brought up something very interesting because Glenn Greenwald, who's decided who they've given oxygen now to, right? So what did he come out and say? Glenn Greenwald, I want people to understand, got fired from where? The Guardian or the Independent? I always get this, no,
I
the
think he was
Spectator.
the Intercept, wasn't he?
No, but he started the Intercept.
Right.
It's
Then it
another
was probably the
place.
Guardian. It's probably the
Yeah,
Guardian.
he's a flaming liberal, flaming leftist that got banned from MSNBC, and in turn, right? So he started became one of those, like, I want to say Bernie bro type people that sort of went with Trump, right? And
He did not go with Trump.
he didn't go with Trump. Well, I mean, his policies are more aligned. Well, either way, 601, he's talking about how Vance would make a much better president, right? Than Rubio. So he's going after Rubio right now because Rubio supported Ukraine. So it's like if somebody again, I want people to look at this. If there isn't money behind this, I don't know where there is. You know what I'm saying? There is so much money right now to try and cause this infighting among MAGA. And I don't know why more people, again, are not speaking up and putting this down.
Well, I think there's a much bigger thing at play here. If you look at all of these policies and issues and things that people are arguing over and disagreeing over within MAGA and within the left, it comes down to Ukraine and Israel. That's really the two things that um, all of these people that are everyone that you just mentioned. So from Glenn Greenwald to Marjorie Taylor Greene. So you have a lefty, someone on the right, Crystal Ball on the left. You have that Ryan Grimm from the left, uh, Tucker Carlson on the right, uh, uh, and we could name all of them on the right. There's tons of people on the left and the right, and they all come together and agree when it comes to either Ukraine or Israel, right? Some of the extreme lefties don't agree with them on the Ukraine thing, but they all agree that Israel is the bad guy. Israel is bad. And if you think about it, on the surface, it looks like it's a Qatar thing, that Qatar bought some people. But if you take a step back, the Chinese have a plan to invade Taiwan in 2027. And one of their generals, I posted it when we were going to do the show the other day, but I forgot his name. But he said, in order for China to invade Taiwan, America must be distracted by four wars. They want to have four wars that America is just embroiled in. And we don't have to actually have boots on the ground, but we need to have a stake in it. That will distract us enough for the Chinese to take Taiwan. What are the four wars? Ukraine, Russia is one of them. So Russia's not going to end this war because China does not want them to end this war. That's why Trump's getting nowhere with Putin because it's not Putin's decision. The next wars, Israel, Iran, Hamas, all of that. The Chinese do not want that to stop. Um, or they don't mind if it flares down now, as long as it can flare back up when they need it in 2027, which is why the Turkish people are Erdogan and his crew are trying to get the pause in on this whole Gaza reconstruction plan because they want to be able to sabotage that. And then you
And by the
have,
way, just so you know, let me interrupt you quickly. So you brought up too, um, I want people to actually look into what he's referring to with Turkey, because this isn't like some sort of conspiracy, this isn't some sort of theory. This is an actuality that they're actually doing right now, is they are doing their best to make sure that this ceasefire doesn't last. They are doing their best to prop up Hamas. This is the Muslim Brotherhood we're talking about, and so is Qatar. So please don't look up exactly what he's talking about. You don't have to go off the grid to find what Mend is talking about right now. This is out there. Go on.
yeah,
Sorry.
when Turkey fell to the Muslims, it's never been the same. But up until the midway between Erdogan's reign as president of Turkey, in the beginning he was allies with Israel, and Israel contributed a lot to Turkey. Whenever they had natural disasters, Israel would fly these crack teams in and they would rescue people, like all of that stuff. But recently, more recently, he realized that in order to consolidate power at home, he needs a bad guy. They need a devil, and the devil is always the Israelis. So in throughout the Middle East, that's always been the case. When Saddam Hussein was angry that America was, going to invade after he invaded Kuwait,
All
where'd they
four.
fire missiles to?
Oh.
The Gulf War. He fired Scud missiles into Israel. Israel had nothing to do with that war, but that's what they do. So, and then the last war that, or
Well,
one of the
you
last
said
wars,
two really,
I
so
said
three. But
two. Here's a third. The third one is Venezuela. So Venezuela and possible some sort of skirmish in Cuba or Central South America. There's some stuff going on with the Taliban and Afghanistan. So the fourth may not even be live yet. We don't even know where it's going to flare up. But their plan, Chinese general came out and said, for us to take Taiwan, we need America involved in four wars. And that's why we're seeing
who said this
the
though?
Ukraine
Where did you
war.
see this?
The Chinese general who said it,
Oh yeah.
I, I could give you give me a second. I'll give you the gentleman's name, but it's a public statement. It's not like something that
No,
I'm
no, no. That's
coming
the
up
only
with.
reason I'm
Yeah,
asking. I think it's
yeah,
important that people know this. I'd rather you go and look it up while because we're not editing today. So I'd rather you.
yeah. Chinese Communist Party strategy with Brazil, Venezuela. Um, so one of Xi's main advisors, his name is Qin Chanrong, Canrong, Qin Chanrong. And he said that if China wants to invade Taiwan, they want if they want to start a war, they will basically need to distract America. The U.S. military is designed to fight two wars, so they want to have us embroiled in four.
Listen,
That was it.
brilliant, and I thank you for bringing that up. I wasn't trying to challenge you. I just want people to actually, know you're not
Be able to
Dave
look it
Smith.
up.
They know that you're not Dave Smith over here or one of these nut jobs that's on Pierce Morgan every night screaming crazy stuff that they have literally zero to back it up. You're actually citing the Chinese general, all this stuff, and you're not citing some Wesley Clark crazy conspiracy of a document that he never read. I want to go lastly. I'm sorry you're a little under the weather. For somebody, you catch a lot of colds. I got to tell you, my
Hey, we
friend.
were out late. We're in Vegas, and
I don't.
as
What's happening? You don't need to share. That's all that
today's
needs to be.
today's today's recovery, just limping
That, that,
along.
that's all that needs to be said. Can I tell you something? I love Scott Bessent. He went after Warren and Klobuchar. He posted on X, "You are failures," Bessent wrote in a post on X. "You failed to derail the electoral process. One of our great allies in Latin America, President Milei, won in a landslide with the poorest members of society voting for economic freedom. A notion, a notion, and okay, God, anathema in particular to the Senate's resident American uh, uh, Corona Senator Warren." And I'm definitely reading this wrong.
Yeah, I couldn't understand
You
that.
failed to reopen the government, preventing our administration's effort to get aid to American farmers, as well as our planned activation of the Farm Credit Agency to assist our farmers with next year's option. So basically, my whole point is I love that Bessent is going on the offensive because, he comes across as very, listen, he comes across very. I mean, this is the guy Elon Musk attacked, but close to the vest, right? And I love that he's actually doing this. I love that. And also, the Washington Post came out today and blamed the shutdown on Democrats, something that never would have happened before. So I sort of am enjoying seeing, again, you're seeing these people speaking up, right? And this is what we want.
It's funny. One is yes, great on Besant for doing that. Good for the Washington Post for actually reporting accurately, and I'm positive it has to do with Jeff Bezos saying, "Hey, start being a little bit more honest here. You got to be a little bit." They were
Yeah,
such an arm of the Democratic Party. Do you know when the longest government shutdown occurred?
please go for it.
Okay, so the longest government shutdown, posted this on Instagram, was um I believe it was in 19, give me a second here. Let me get my fancy glasses. The longest filibuster in US history was 75 days, and it took place in 1964 when the Democrats tried to block the Civil Rights Act. Love that.
Yeah,
Love
no,
that.
that is, you know what? Send that to me because I think that's because listen, they're the party of the black people, right? And the champions of the minority class, and except when they were never the champions of the minority class. I agree with you. I think it's great. Last thing I want to bring up is again, this hold, and I could only go with money on this, is because the Heritage Foundation, which is considered, in a sense, the litmus test for conservatism, they've been around for God knows how long. I'm not a huge fan of theirs. Uh, they're the ones that were the catalyst for the whole 2025 project. The head of it is coming out supporting Tucker Carlson. And it's like the money entanglement with these groups because these are nonprofits and they need money. And that they are not, I gotta say this out loud, man. It's really awfully scary because I'm screaming it again. Where are these people? Why are they so silent? And I mean, how much more does Tucker Carlson need to show that he's dangerous? That I don't just mean to Israel, that he's dangerous to America. I mean, he called 40 million Christians. He said he detests them more than anything in the world, at least 40 million. That's what he detests them. Men, that's what detests him or bothers him the most. And the thing that bothers him the most is Christian Zionists. I want you to think about that. 40
Yeah,
million of
no.
them.
And what did the head of the Heritage Foundation say? Like,
He,
how are they defending that?
he defended him. He defended him by hold on, I will read exactly. So I don't want to. The head of the right wing Heritage Foundation of Washington Defense, Tucker Carlson, in a video statement. quote, Christians can criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic, and the Jew hatred should be condemned, before saying, my loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interest of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so, Roberts continued, before saying, conservatives should feel no obligation to support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class, another obviously trope word over there, or their mouthpieces in Washington. Roberts asserts that the role of his think tank isn't canceling our own people or policing the consciousness of Christians, and we won't start doing that now. He then goes on to say the Heritage Foundation will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda, including Tucker Carlson, who he claims is being attacked by a venomous coalition sowing division. This guy has to be smoking. Okay,
Wow.
this guy, I mean, the head of the Heritage Foundation, I'm just speculating, is bought and paid for. And you know what? Just like we go after the Anti-Defamation League, which is Jewish, just like we go after the Jewish Federation, which is Jewish, we have zero issues on this show going after our own ever, ever. That he's coming out from the Heritage Foundation. And the only thing I mean, I know a lot about them because I have a friend that goes and gets their free lunches every day. Um, I'm not kidding, by the way, for people who are familiar, the think tanks men to get people to go in Washington will often offer free lunches. So I know somebody who literally who never has to pay for food in Washington because he goes to the think tanks every day to their presentations. And a very nice guy.
Yeah,
And
getting the opinions from the best of the best.
But isn't this amazing? I mean, like you can't make this stuff up, right? Like this is like you were a little shocked with that response of his, right?
Yeah, I can't believe it. It would have been better for him to just shut up and not say anything.
Yeah, that's
If
exactly
you don't
right.
want to
And
take a stand, and that's usually my take on a lot of people. Like, if you don't know enough, or you know, just keep it to yourself. Don't go out there and make a statement. I like Randy Patamkin, who came out for Zoran Mondamni. Obviously knows nothing about that guy. Just shut the F up. Don't make a statement. You coming out and make a statement, you look like an idiot. You look like uh damn it. He was on Bill Maher. He's a big old actor.
Ben Affleck.
No, old, way older than Ben Affleck.
Oh, Michael Douglas.
No, that age range, but
I
anyway, but fat bald guy who knows nothing, and he's like, "What? They were silencing conservatives? What are you talking about?" Like, has no idea what he's talking about. Yet he's on a show calling Trump a Nazi. Like, you don't even know
you talking about De Niro?
anything. No, he's as old as De Niro. He's a producer now. He's a fat bald actor. I mean, he just looks like the biggest dumbass out there. He was on like, I don't know, Three's Company type of show. I don't know, one of those old bag. I believe he's Jewish. I'm not sure, but he's just a moron. He's an idiot. And when you go out and make these statements, like the left isn't violent, all the violence is on the right. Like, have you not been watching what's been happening? The last seven school shooters were all on the left. The person who tried to kill Brett Kavanaugh was on the left. Person that firebombed Josh Shapiro's house was on the left. Person that tried to kill Trump twice was on the left. Like, no, these people just don't get it.
It's interesting you say that because this is a story I don't think I'd ever share with Ben because Ben was very close to this person's father, Irving Kristol, who was a very famous conservative, and his son, Bill Kristol, who ran the Weekly Standard, which Trump essentially put out of business when he won, uh, who literally the only way he makes money is by being a never Trumper, right? And he's supporting Mamdani. And I would never tell this to Ben because Ben would like this would actually cause Ben's head to explode, knowing that personally knowing this person and his family at a very close level, including Ben's father knowing them. And with Bill Crystal, I mean, it's like how much money is somebody paying you to betray your country? This is forget about the Jewish part of this, man, to betray your country. Having an Islamic jihadist for mayor and not speaking out against that is betraying your country. That's it, plain and
And who
simple.
was that? Who was it?
Bill Crystal.
Not Billy Crystal, Bill
No, not
Crystal.
Billy Crystal. Bill Crystal was a very prominent conservative who used to call him neocon, who when it ran the publication called the Weekly Standard, which was around for years,
Right, right.
and their sole mission for 30 years was going after the Clintons, right? That's how they made their buck. And when Trump came in, if you look at a lot of the papers that didn't exist anymore, it was because what else were they going to write about? These are the papers that were encouraging all the wars or all the forever wars. That's Bill Kristol. That's
Yeah,
who this person is. He was one of the major leaders of people love to call neocons and neoconservatives. His father, him of and this is who people followed. And
yeah,
well, look where he is now. So I don't look at this always, this obviously you could look at this through the lens of Israel. This has nothing to do with Israel. We have an Islamic jihadist running that probably is going to become the next mayor of New York City. Nothing. This is about America first, and I want to know where the hell all the America first people are, not being outraged that this is going to is that this is happening, and that's all I have to say about that.
yeah. I don't know enough about Bill Crystal, but anyone who comes out and supports Mendamni. So the problem with this stuff is that you have people that wish that they were a part of the civil rights movement when MLK was running it. So now they'll latch on to anything um, that is controversial, that they view as an underdog or anything like that. And they think that this is their civil rights walk moment where they could get to march across the bridge, lock arms with that guy. But in these cases, Mendamni is no civil rights leader. He's
I know
a
John Stewart
hateful.
comparing him to Jackie Robinson, right? Or
Yeah,
MLK. Which
exactly,
one?
exactly, exactly. All of that, all of it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. I think that's a great point. And I also think, listen, I think there's two types of people. I think there are people that are doing this for money, people to stay relevant, and there are the believers, right? There are the zealots. I mean, there's no reason to believe we know we have a bunch of zealots running around their country.
yeah,
The problem is we're not part of the left. We're part of the conservative. We tend to vote, veer more to the right. And if people ever get upset that we don't call people out on the left, that's because I don't want to see MAGA broken. And right
yeah.
now it's getting fractured by all these different organizations. And there's no doubt China's doing a lot of the damage, Iran's doing a lot of the damage to fracture, whether it's by pay or whether it's by bot. And this has to be cut. This has to stop. And as I keep on saying, JD Vance is probably the only person that could actually end this right now. And it posted about this. It's his job right now to cut this because if he doesn't cut this in when he's running for president, if he run when he runs for president, this is going to come back to bite him in the ass. And
He,
yeah,
I don't think he's going to cut it. I don't think JD Vance is going to come out against Tucker or anyone else. I think JD's just doing his thing, and for
yeah, that's
right
a
or
very
wrong,
scary. It's a very scary thing. And because you know why it's a scary thing? Can I tell you why it's a scary thing? When Tucker came out, and obviously when Tucker had on his show Nick Fuentes and God, and somebody brought up such a great point about, the sole mission of that interview was to legitimize Nick Fuentes, a person, that should never be legitimized, and that I could never amend. None of us. I mean, just want you to think about this for a second. Imagine if the two of us if one of us had on a show a member of the Klan, right? Member of the
yeah,
Ku Klux Klan, and we were like, "Yeah, you're just a little misunderstood. We're pals. You just think a little differently. You think we should have, kill all the blacks, hang crosses, and then on their front lawns." I wouldn't talk to you after that,
yeah,
and I'd do everything to condemn you.
yeah. And who do you have on? Nick Fuentes?
Yeah. And having Fuentes on, and that should have been the point where JD said, "You've gone too far, my friend. You've gone too far. This is you." And that was when the same interview when he called for the, that they call for when he said that he there's nothing worse than he despises than the 30 to 50 million Americans that are Christian Zionists. And so, there you are. I mean, and there's a great video out there for people. I showed this to somebody yesterday. Mark Levin posted about it, where Tucker for 4 minutes talks about being mauled by a bear in his sleep. I'm not kidding. And he was mauled by a demon, man, where he went and he had claws on his skin, and he thought he woke up, he thought it was a bad dream, and there was blood on his bed. And his four dogs were sleeping in bed with his wife. I'm not kidding. And he felt like he was being mauled. His rib cage felt like it was being broken. And and
Sounds
this
like
is
he
who
should be talk. Sounds like he should be talking in tongues.
it
He's right
sounds
up
like he
there.
should be institutionalized. But on that note,
Yeah.
listen, uh, it's good to see you. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. I know you're busy tomorrow. Your schedule's a little tight because of
I fly
Halloween.
back. We fly back just in time for Halloween. Go trick or treating.
Remember what I told you about the Afrin? I told the same thing to Golan on the show yesterday. Sniff the Afrin before you get on the plane. It's good if you have a cold.
It's a 40
It
minute
dry.
flight.
But it's not the flight time. It's the going up and it's the going down.
Oh,
That's what it has nothing to do with that. It could be a 15-minute flight, but if you're going to 20,000, I worry about your eardrums. Okay.
I hear
Uh,
you.
I'm sorry for being the mommy of the group. On that note, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody that follows and likes us from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Just thank you for all the support. And you can find us everywhere at thedailycheatsheet.com. That is the daily cheat sheet, thedailycheatsheet.com. I want to wish everybody a good morning, afternoon, and night world, wherever you are. God bless you all.